Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another video. Too many directions for masculinity these days. You know what, I had mentioned a couple videos ago that, when I'm trying to get an idea about what to talk about, I would, go in the YouTube studio, and there's a place that you can do research where you can look at what else is popular. And the masculinity thing is popular. But one thing I'm finding though, and it's really bothersome. As a man, it's bothersome. You got so many directions about what it means to be a man. And it's not all coming just from men. But some might say, well, to be masculine, you gotta be there for the kids and you gotta be soft. You need to show more emotion and all of that. And I'm like, you know what? That's why so many dudes are messed up. Because they got so much, because maybe they didn't grow up with like a strong father, or he might not have been in a home, or he might have been in a home, but still maybe the women dominate. I've seen that. I've seen those type of men that get that real dominant woman or something and everything. And they try, there's all this stuff about, well, a man should do this, a man should do that and everything. And somebody could say, well, Rom, ain't you promoting a certain type of masculinity? Yes, I am. But mine is based on something that's always worked. When I talk about the house of the man, it's not something created recently. Shoot, because I had attributed what I learned about from Master Yao, but he, Yao and Yamache Morris, but then he had actually got that from some other people. And then those other people, knowing one of them, he had actually got it from just whatever different indigenous cultures have done. So it's basically principles that have always worked, but we got something different. Now, when I talk about the house of the man, well, first, before I even get into it, the one thing that separates a man from a woman is taking action. The masculine man takes action. That's the thing. He's active. If you talk about masculine energy, it's active. Feminine energy is passive. So a man who's taking action, that's what it means to be a man. See, that's, like I said, I don't like being on panels or somewhere, or panels, or even watching videos where, say, they complaining about women. Okay, what you gonna do about it? What you gonna do? That's what a man does. A man, he'll talk about the situation, he'll talk about it with other men, but they're talking about it in terms of how to solve the issue. How to solve it. They ain't just coming on here saying, well, these women, this or that. Okay, what you gonna do about it? That's what a man does. That's what a man does. A man solves the problem. Even some women complain because women, they want to sit around and talk about the issue. Whereas the man is like, oh, okay, do this, this, and this. And sometimes the women get mad when the man solves it because they wanted to talk about it, get it out. That's cool. Let them do it. But this is what I would say to women. It's a man's nature. You tell him something, he's going to be like, if he's a man, he's going to be like, well, you need to do this. You need to do that. So being a man, period, is all about just taking action. Then I'm known for talking about the house of the man. And remember, like I said, I attributed some of the stuff I learned about it from Master Yao and Yamache Morris. But then I know the martial arts master that he got it from, Grandmaster, Master Tenon. And, and he had talked to some other people. So this is an old thing. So when you talk about the house of the man, what is he? He's a warrior. What he's doing, and that's an active thing. He's protecting those under his care. That's active. That's protection. You get some people talking about protection. A man need to protect and provide. That's part of protection right there. And then the ego is logical and rational. Every man is more logical. Yeah, we got our emotional side. We have our emotional side, but then when we solving problems, we doing it in a logical, rational method. We get down to it, we put all that emotion to the side. And then you talk about the hunter, that's a provider. If you look in any indigenous culture, the men were hunting. Now in this modern culture, that means you out getting money. You taking care of family. That's just our natural thing. That's just our natural thing. Even if you just taking care of yourself, you going out, you making that money. Like a man will always want a job. He will always want to be busy no matter what. And that's why I got something with, I had a real issue with these young men who talking about they don't want to work and they giving excuses. Block. And shit. Because a real man is not going to sit around, if he right, unless he just ain't right. Now, if he got some issues he dealing with, that's another thing. But if a man is going to be a hunter, that means he's going to go out there and get that money. He's going to figure out what he got to do, get the training, whatever. He's going to go get that money, no matter what. And then the healer, that's the restorer. That's the dude making love to her. But that goes even bigger. That means everybody under his care, he's going to make sure they good. And he's going to take the actions necessary to make sure that they're good. That's the house of the man. Look, you can't mess with that. See, but you got other stuff out here. And I'm going to tell you what, I know some people say, well, why should I take yours over someone else's? For one simple reason, it works. For one simple reason, it works. That's all I'm going to say, it works. Like if you're a man, you need to be that warrior to protect your family. If you're talking about a family, shoot, just to protect yourself, you need to be standing up for yourself before anything else, and then your family. And then you talking about the ego sees ahead, sees problems, say, okay, this is how we're going to solve it. This is how we're going to get to this direction. This is how we're going to make this goal. Shoot, the ego is the visionary. The ego sees ahead and said, the ego is a leader. The ego is a leader. You know, the ego going to see ahead and say, okay, here's the direction. Come follow me. We're going to go through this path to get to where we're going. And then the hunter, any man should, if he should at least want to feed himself, at the very minimum, feed himself. You know, he ain't waiting for some woman to do it or somebody else to do it. And then the healer, shoot, yeah, you want to make love to her and stuff, but you want to make sure if she under your care, you got responsibility for her and your family. You gonna make sure they good. And shoot, you gonna make sure you're good. You know? I want somebody to argue against that. Ain't nothing wrong with any of those. Now, yeah, they putting out all this other stuff, but I'm gonna tell you something now. A lot of times people putting out some stuff because they want to have control over you. Because a lot of stuff wouldn't happen if you have a critical mass of men who stand up. You wouldn't need police presence in many neighborhoods where you have men saying, nah, we ain't gonna allow this here. We ain't gonna take care of it. You ain't gonna do this here. You know? I remember like, I was at my grandmother's house, and that's the one I grew up in, but before she even moved into it, had like a little row house on this street. And a bunch of boys, she had a little wall. There were some local boys sitting on the wall. My step-grandfather, now he wasn't like a big dude. He was like more on the slim side. He went out there and said something to him. He didn't give a fuck. He said something. They moved off of there. A man keeps order. A man keeps order in his environment. If we get a critical mass of men who stand up, that's what's going to happen. That is what's going to happen. You know? Because I remember, I've told the story before, when I was living in Edgewood, Maryland. I had a little house with my family. And, you know, had some boys, they were like jumping over the fence, coming through the yard. I walked out there with a boy, he was tall, bigger and taller than me. I walked out there with nothing on but shorts. Nothing on but shorts. I ain't have on any socks, anything. No shirt, anything, letting him know. And I said, nah, don't be coming over here. And then let everybody else in the neighborhood know. I just kept order. That's what a man does. Now, if you got problems with all of that, if you got problems being a warrior or a hunter or an eagle or a healer, then you got some real issues. Now, I know there are plenty of other guys, but nah, I'm standing on this. It ain't up for debate. It's not up for debate, all right? So I want y'all to think about that and really focus on being that man, all right? Being that man. And like I said, the bottom line is just being active. You actively gonna solve problems. You actively gonna protect. You're just gonna be active. You're gonna be active in getting that money you need to live. You're just gonna be active, all right? So anyway, that's all I got for now. I'll get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.